If you love holiday baking but do not have the time or the energy to chill the dough, roll it out, cut out the perfect shapes, this one's for you. My name's Larissa and today I am sharing two of my favorite cookie bar recipes. They're way easier than cut cookies, but they are just as festive and just as delicious. We are talking one bowl, a 9x13 pan, and no fancy steps. These are perfect for freezing ahead or for gifting or for sneaking with your morning coffee. I'm sharing Blondies and Buttery chocolate chip shortbread. And I'm going to tell you how I switch things up with each of these bars. Let's get into it. Bake sale Blondies. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and I am using a 9x13 inch disposable foil pan. Mix half a cup of softened butter with 2 cups of brown sugar. Then you're going to mix in 2 large eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then you're going to add in a half teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And then you're going to mix in 2 cups of something. I'm using M&Ms today, and there are suggestions listed in Dorothy Kern's cookbook, but here are some of my own ideas. I like to add a little bit of maple extract. You can substitute it for the vanilla, or you can use both. I add in white chocolate chips instead of regular chocolate chips or M&Ms, and then I sprinkle a little bit of maple sugar over the top. I'm a maple fan, so this works for me. This recipe adjusts really well, so if you want to use it as a gift idea, think about what that person enjoys. My nephew loves sprinkle cookies, so I would mix in sprinkles for him. My mom loves lemon and white chocolate, and I did white chocolate chips, and then I just used a little bit of lemon drizzle on the top. They turned out beautiful and delicious. Press the dough into a thin layer in the prepared pan, and then you're going to bake between 23 and 28 minutes and keep an eye on them. You don't want to over bake them because then they'll become kind of rock hard. Chocolate chip shortbread bars are my favorites. I think that for me, shortbread feels very Christmassy. It feels traditional. But this is another recipe that you can totally customize. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and I am again using a 9x13 inch pan. Cream 1 cup of unsalted butter and 2/3 of a cup granulated sugar. Then mix in a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a tablespoon of cornstarch. Then you're going to slowly incorporate 2 cups of all-purpose flour. At this point, you can kind of go rogue. The classic mini chocolate chips turn out beautifully. I like to make the shortbread bars with red, white, and green chips. I get these at the bulk store. And I also like to make it with chopped pecans or walnuts instead of the chocolate chips, or do half and half. Press the dough into a thin layer in the prepared pan and bake. The recipe says for 25 to 30 minutes, but in my oven, it only took 20 minutes to get fully baked. So make sure you pay attention, especially if you want more chewy shortbread. Chocolate chip cookie gooey bars. These guys go everywhere. They are a sloppy bar, so if you want to get a little messy and have a little fun with your cookies, this is the recipe. I switch these up sometimes by adding in M&Ms or butterscotch chips. Preheat the oven to 350, and again, I am using a foil pan. In a bowl, you're going to put 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to combine those and set aside. Melt 1 cup of butter just until melted. You don't want to heat it up too much. And then you're going to add 3/4 of a cup of plain granulated sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar to a bowl and stir together. Then you'll add 2 eggs, one at a time, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then add in your flour mixture. At this point, you're going to add in 2 cups of the semi-sweet chocolate chips. So not all the chocolate chips. Press half the cookie dough into the prepared pan. A mistake that I made the first time was not making sure that the bottom was completely covered. The ooey gooey middle can ooze out if you're not careful. Once you've pressed the cookie dough and made sure that the pan is completely covered, pour 1 can of sweetened condensed milk over the cookie dough and make sure you leave a good gap around the edge so that the milk doesn't touch the foil. Sprinkle the remaining 1 cup of chocolate chips on top and then break up the remaining cookie dough and place on top of the milk. Press with your hands to flatten, and it will not completely cover the bottom layer, but don't freak out. Bake for 28 to 34 minutes until the tops of the bars start to get a light golden brown. One mistake that I made was cutting into the bars too soon. You want to make sure that they are cooled and solidified. A couple of things that I do differently than the recipe. I like to swap in 2 cups of M&Ms, and I usually use 1 cup of mini and 1 cup of full-size M&M in place of the chocolate chips that go in the batter. But I still use the 1 cup of chocolate chips in with the sweetened condensed milk. And that's it. Delicious bar cookies that come together fast and taste like you spent way more time in the kitchen than you actually did. These recipes are from Dorothy Kern's Crazy for Cookies, Brownies, and Bars. I highly recommend it. If you try these, let me know what you mixed in. Some of my favorite recipes have been improved by things that people have suggested in the comments, so please keep sharing. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you'll like, subscribe, share, do all the things, and I hope that you will remember that you're not alone trying to make holiday baking a little bit easier.